Hello guys, this is going to be a very basic tutorial on how to make a simple flying game. I'm not going to go into the details of how to do every single thing that I made in my other game, my Lava Fighter, as I cheesily named it. Um, but it's just going to teach you the basics of how to get the controls down. Um, and that's probably about it. I'm not going to show you how to add bullets or enemies or whatever. So, yeah, here I go. I'm just going to really quick here make a simple airplane. So I'm going to do that right now. That seems more or less like a basic sort of airplane design. Let's hit tab, or no, not tab, A, W, shade smooth, and then we can hit tab real quick, and then we can, or hold on, we can, you son of a bitch, I hate that. We can, go to here, and flip direction. Nope, that didn't do it, so, okay, never mind. What we do then, we go here, add subdivision subsurface. We can just add 2. That looks like a fine enough airplane. We're just gonna make it a little bit smaller because that's fine enough. And then we're gonna add landscape. By the way, if you're gonna be adding big things, you're gonna want to hit N, and you're gonna want to come down here, and right here where it says clip, and you're gonna want to make it a very big number. This way, your viewport can see a very far sort of distance, have a very large draw distance. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit Shift A and hit plane. It just gives you this quad thing. And then we're just gonna expand it. And yeah, I'll show you what I'm gonna do real quick. Expand up by hitting S, by the way. That seems like a more or less fairly large plane, doesn't it? So the other thing I'm going to do real quick is change that camera angle, and what we're going to do is we're going to hit Alt G and Alt R. We're going to hit 5 and 3. We're going to hit R minus 90. Okay, there we go. Maybe move it up a little bit further. Hit 0. It can be moved further out, I think. There we go, that's a decent. And then what we do is we hit Shift and then we hit Select with the mouse. So I'll do that now. Sorry about that weird noise, I was just setting my mic down. And this allows me to select both things at once. Then we hit Control and P and hit Object. Now the camera is sort of parented to the airplane, which is cool enough, I guess. Okay, let's get out of this mode right here. It's fine enough. Now we're going to focus on the plane. W, shade smooth, yes. And then W again, and subdivide. And we're going to do this a bunch of times. This is what's going to allow us to have a landscape. So we're going to just have a nice, decent sized landscape. That should be enough for right now. I don't want it to be too much. Then we're going to come down here, and we're going to go to sculpt mode. Oh, and also, it'll be really good if we hit Blender Game right here instead of Blender Render, and then we hit GLSL. I forgot to add that step, but it's there now. So now that we're in sculpt mode, we can just, that's not quite what I meant to do, but okay. We're just going to be adding mountains, so it's not like it matters that much to what it looks like. Just having it in sculpt mode is fine. Now we can add subdivision subsurface to our landscape as well. Let's just take it back to object mode. This is just a very simple sort of landscape. It's not anything particularly special. It's going to be on, make sure it's, oops. There we go. Actor, static, yeah, make sure it's static, and collision bounds with convex hull. This will hopefully guarantee that you're not just hitting a box. Now what we're going to do is we are going to add movement to our airplane. And so before I do that, okay, it's already in my, actually this one isn't. I'm going to go ahead and set this into my preferred screen size, which is good, full screen, there we go, it's perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go up here, default, and game logic, and we're going to add keyboard, 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 and keyboard. CW, S, A, and D. Just the very basic controls everybody with the PC is familiar with. Okay. It's almost perfect. And motion, motion, and motion. Alright, we can keep all these on local. Now, we're gonna have these set right here. Just gonna have them set up to connect to one another. There we go, like that. And then we're going to have it like that. There we go. Now I forget how exactly to make it work. Let's just hit 0. Oh, and by the way, you're also going to want to hit the camera and have this draw distance right here at a really large number so that it sees the entire landscape. See, that's a lot better, I think. Alright. Okay, now we're going to select the also we're going to select this and just make it a sun real quick. Sorry, I'm digressing, but okay. Now we are going to select the movement. Now selecting Y movement, because this thing is facing the forward Y. So we're going to have this rotate. Let's just say 1 and -1. I think that's how it should be. I'm not entirely sure. I forget which way you rotate it, so we'll just test it. Okay, wrong way. This is for the so instead what we're going to do is we're going to come down here, have that for, so A is -1 on the Y axis, and 1 on the Y axis for D. So let's just test that. Perfect. And so it isn't this that we should be using for. In fact, we should just minimize these two right here so we're not confused. Okay, I think maybe then you rotate on the x-axis. Let's try -1 and 1. Let's just make sure that's how it works. Yep, that's how it works. It's perfect. And so as you can see, we have ourselves some nice controls for our airplane, but it's not moving yet. And there's also a few other issues, like we can't see what we're doing, so we're just going to add a new material for the plane and the let's see. Well, I'm going to get rid of this real quick. I don't like having, because I don't use Python very much. When I do, I just bring up the editor and then I take it away when I'm done with it. So we just have properties set up here. That's perfect. Perfectly fine. I like it like that. And yeah, just UV editor down here so that I can use that for later. Now let's start this in standalone player. So it's not moving, but it is as you can see steering. So we're gonna come here also. My plane is going to be, you can either have it a character or a dynamic, it works either way. I'm going to use character for it now and turn the fall speed at 0. I don't want there to be any kind of gravity affecting my airplane. I want it to be very arcade feeling. And collision bounds will be convex hull, and same with the yeah, with that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add an always, and the always will be a motion, and it will be going, oops, positive, let's just say 5, because it's going in the direction, it's the front is facing the Y arrow forward thingy, so like so, you know. So and then I'm gonna add another keyboard. This will be Shift, H I F T, Shift. And we're gonna add a control sensor right down here too, but add controls, CTRL. as Homer Simpson would call it. Yeah, left control and left shift. These are going to be the speed controllers. Motion and motion. Now this will be, it'll add 2.5, and this will be negative 2.5, therefore having the speed, because the speed uh, is neutrally at 5. So this sort of adds a little bit of extra speed, takes it up to about 7.5 or so, whereas this one takes the speed down to 2.5. So we don't have any textures yet, but that's fine. We're going to start the game, and we're going to just fly around real quick. Speed it up. See how close I can get to the mountains, because it was glitching a little while earlier for some reason. But yeah, we can get to the mountains pretty nicely. We can't quite collide with them, but you know, that's fine. We can get close enough to them, which is good. It's good to start off with a large plane instead of a small one and expanding it. Alright, you start off with a large plane, and then you do your sculpting. It works better that way. And so as you can see, we now have a very basic flying game. Now the only thing left is to add textures. I'm not going to add bullets or particles, although I do have a particle. There are a couple of ways to do it. I have a add-on that makes particles easier and more fun. But yeah, right now we're just going to add some textures. First we're going to, okay, so it's on material, hit new, hit open, and for some reason I have all my textures in just my documents, but mountain is a fine enough thing, and then we're going to also come down here and get the same exact texture, mountain, and then we're going to hit tab, U for unwrap. We're going to go into texture mode to see how it looks, which is terrible, so we're going to expand it to basically make the tile sizes smaller and makes it look a little bit less like the Nintendo 64 graphics. Which, you know, there's nothing necessarily wrong with 64 graphics, it's just those textures got off. Alright, that looks good enough. It's not perfect, but it looks good enough. And then for the airplane texture, we are going to yeah, well, first we're just going to exit this one here. We're going to hit new, hit open, and then we're just going to use this texture that I made for my other flying game. We're going to open image on this, use the same exact texture here. Tab, U for unwrap, and then S. Can we even see the texture at all? Yeah, it's a little too small, so I'm gonna decrease that size of it. Maybe I'll even do something that you're not really supposed to do, but I'll use it as a texture bump. And yeah, there you go. Now we can see, yeah, textures are a little bit better with it included as texture bumps. Tab, maybe I'll take texture bumps and make it all the way. I'll get 5, yeah, I'll look back, it looks like shit, so I'll take it down to about 2.5, which is usually what I do with these kind of things. And I suppose we could do the same thing for this. Okay, that looks bad. Let's not do that. Okay, so let's start and let's see how it looks. Oh, hold on, there's one other thing I need to do. I don't want the mountain texture to have any kind of specular to it, but I do want the spaceship to have specular. because it's metal. Okay, so slow it down. It's preventing me from getting too close to the mountain range. But I guess that's fine enough. It's probably just the really large wing size, but yeah, you can see I'm just sort of flying around in my mountain range, and it's kind of cool. Just got an airplane flying around in it. Actually, you know what? I think I do want the texture on this to be all the way up, or the texture bumps, because that way you can at least see the texture just a tiny bit on the airplane. Yeah, you can't get too close to the ground with this thing for some reason, but you can still get pretty close. I think it's just the shape of the airplane that's kind of throwing it off a little bit. You know, the huge wingspan and so on and so forth. But you can also add rudder controls if you like. Usually I use Q and E for that to allow you to. In fact, I'll do that real quick. Let's see. Keyboard and keyboard. Q. Q sure did give Picard a run for his money, didn't he? And E. A. Okay. So we just minimize those with R. Tell you what. Add actuator, motion, and motion. Now my guess is I'm going to have to rotate it on the Z axis. So -1 I'm guessing, and 1. This gives some rudder control. So let's try that. Oops, I have that the opposite way, which is usually odd. I usually end up getting it wrong when I do it the other way, but okay, that's fine. -1. Okay, so now, yep, we have rudder control now. Some really fast rudder control, but that's fine. I'm not trying to go for a super realistic. I'm just basic tutorial. But yeah, this is just a cool way. Like if you have basically if you have cool airplanes or whatever that you make in your 3D modeling just as a hobby, you know, you can fly them around. Maybe there are already tutorials out there on how to make, you know, things shoot. It's basically really simple. You just add an empty, and then when you press a certain key, like space for an example, you have the empty add an object, and the object itself will be on the second layer, and the object will just naturally be moving, kind of like my airplane is. I'm not pressing anything and it's moving, right? So you know, and yeah, that's basically how you make bullets. Right. I don't feel like doing that with this, but that's how you do it. And yeah, that's how I did it in the games. Yeah. So yeah, this is just simple tutorial on how to make a simple little flying game with Blender Game Engine. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. Oh no, I'm underneath the freaking. Yeah, that happens when you have no barriers of any kind. You can have barriers through either invisible walls or you can have a giant sphere with a sky texture. Or you could do a combination of both. But yeah, that's just the basic Yeah, that's it. That's just a basic sort of flying tutorial. So peace.